Welcome back.
Woo.
Yeah, it's episode 6 of the Long Way Around podcast. I'm Tony Jackson, and you are?
Kevin Sullivan.
That's right. Damn right, you're Kevin Sullivan. Chicago's Bears. By the way, congratulations, Kevin Sullivan. For any of you watching this in 2025, Chicago, Illinois, home of the brand new leader of the Catholic Church and all Catholics around the world, Pope Leo the 14th, Chicago's own.
It would be a Chicagoan, if it's going to be an American, it has to be a Chicagoan. I think it's cool. It's very cool, but it's also unbelievable. I never thought it would happen, honestly.
Yeezy's probably kicking himself super jealous right now. He's like, I should have been the new Pope. I'm from Chicago, right? Yeezy? No, it doesn't work like that. Congratulations, Pope Leo the 14th. Good for you. Portillo's for everybody.
Literally, that's going to be the sacrament now: an Italian beef and a shot of Malort.
Yeah, there you go. Good job. Welcome back. It's episode 6 of the Long Way Around podcast. We already introduced ourselves. If you missed it, go back and watch the beginning again. Today, we are talking about things that, like, if you looked at us, like, you would never think that we were doing. Like, look at us. I mean, you can't really, you can sort of see me. I'm in a wheelchair. I use a wheelchair. Kevin, like, you saw him walking around the last episode.
Yes,
right.
Hopefully that doesn't happen again.
I mean, hopefully not. But I mean, the reason we wanted to talk about this today is because people look at us and automatically assume that there are things that we can't do. They're just like, there's no way this person can do this. There's no way this person can do that. And we're here to tell you, you know what? You're wrong. I can do those things. Now, I cannot work at the burger line in McDonald's. True. I also don't work at McDonald's. Never have. I cannot. Yep. See, there you go. I cannot shovel elephant poop at a zoo. Can't do that.
Also same.
Have never also done that. But there are plenty of things that I can do, and there are plenty of things that Kevin can do. So we're going to talk about some of those things today and blow your minds if you don't know us. Like, if you know us, then you already know we do these things. So, whatever. So let's talk. Let's talk for a minute. There are things that I can do. There are things that you can do. When people look at us and they don't know us, they go, whoa, you can do that. Start off, Kevin. What's one thing that always blows people's minds when you're like, oh yeah, I can do that?
I feel like the biggest thing is that I used to play baseball for 20 seasons. When I tell people that, I feel like they're usually pretty surprised. So growing up where I did, I grew up in a suburb called Buffalo Grove, which is pretty close to where I live now. And they had a really strong, like, Little League baseball program back in the day. And it's run through the Park District and all that. And one of the programs that they have through that is called Buddy Baseball. And essentially what it does is it pairs players with disabilities with able-bodied buddies. So people to help them with fielding, hitting, running the bases, whatever. So I did that for 20 seasons, and I loved it. It was definitely a little different because Buddy Baseball was open to people of all disabilities, so like physical, intellectual, etc. So I would say that's probably the biggest one. What about you?
Oh my goodness. I mean, same sports, really. Sports, like, I'm in a wheelchair. What am I going to play? Right? I could be the stone in curling for some people, right? But seriously, I've been playing sports for 16 and a half years now. I play a sport called power soccer or power wheelchair soccer, or for the folks around the world, power chair football. I play it. I've been doing it for a long time, and I've been coaching for almost as long. So it's cool. Here, let's check out a video. This is me doing the thing. This is me doing the thing. This is what we do, right? This is power chair football, power soccer. And as you can see, it's for people who use power wheelchairs. We have these custom built chairs. We play soccer. Now it's not like soccer where we run around and we kick the ball and and we go get ice cream afterwards and everybody has a good time. No, it's different. It's still soccer or football. It's just a different form of the game, right? Just like like your buddy league, little league, right? Like it's still baseball. It's just a different form of it, right?
Right.
So yes, I play sports. I've been playing this sport for like 16 years now, and I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. Pretty good. I play another sport. I not really play a sport. I participate in another competitive sport. It is adaptive downhill skiing. Now you're like, how in the holy hell are you skiing? Right? Okay, let me tell you. There's this thing called the Tetra ski, created and manufactured by the University of Utah. Trails Adaptive at the University of Utah. Amazing people. And they built this thing called the Tetra ski. This gentleman, his name was Brian McKenna, who had sustained a spinal cord injury years ago, wanted to keep doing outdoorsy things. And he partnered up with the folks at Trails. They built this thing called the Tetra ski, and it allows people like me with these little T-Rex arms over here to ski relatively independently. It's cool because it's like this bucket. You can kind of see there. It's like this bucket, and underneath the bucket, it's got the skis, but attached to the skis are these actuators. And those actuators are controlled by a joystick or a sip and puff. For those of you that don't know what a sip and puff is, it is literally a tube that comes up to your mouth, and you can control a device, usually a wheelchair, by blowing air or sucking air out of the tube. Like you can turn left, right, go backward, forward, all those things. But you can control this Tetra ski thing with a sip and puff or a joystick. And I was like, well, I use a joystick already. I already use a joystick driving my chair every day. And so I was like, I need to get in this. And when I found out that there was a competitive race, I was like, sign me up. Let's go. Get me in there. Right. And so I started doing this a couple of years ago, and I love it. I never knew that downhill skiing was a thing that I needed in my life. But let me tell you, this is awesome, right? Like I was in Utah for the race here. Well, here's a little video. Put in a little video here. This is me skiing down a hill. Like what? Like what?
Wow.
Right?
That's impressive.
I do that. So that's another thing. Blow my mind again, Kevin. Please. What else you got?
Wow. So I would say, I mean, I've been to a lot of different places. I've been to like a lot of national parks, surprisingly, and I didn't even like mean to do it. It just kind of happened. You don't realize like how many things are considered a national park. So I definitely checked a lot of those off the bucket list. I've been to 16 out of 30 Major League Baseball ballparks. I have a goal of seeing all 30 in my lifetime, and I'm already over halfway there. So that's pretty good.
Wait, what do you mean? So let's go back for a second. What do you mean you like accidentally visited all these national parks? Is it like you were going to go to like get gas for your van? You're like, oh, oops, ended up at a national park.
Well, it's not like it wasn't like I accidentally did it. I just didn't realize like how many things were considered national parks. It's like, wow, when I really like look at the list, it's like, oh damn, I've actually been to quite a few of these all of a sudden. And like even things like historical sites and like things like that are considered national parks. So I've been to like a lot of those. And then obviously the ballparks. Haven't really done a whole lot of international traveling, which I know is somewhere where you have really excelled.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know about Excel. I don't know if Excel is the right word. It's not something that I like trained to get better at, but I've been around a couple places. Been around a few places. I mean, Power Soccer has taken me a lot of different locations that I never thought I'd ever visit in my life. I mean, first of all, I was born in South Korea on a military base, so let's just start there. But yeah, man, I've been around. Like you look at me, and you would never know that. I've lived all over the U.S. Right? Like I tell people all the time, out of all the folks in my family who move the most, I'm the one that should move the least. However, I am the one that has moved the most, right? Like all of my family members kind of like pick a spot and they just stay there, which is cool. I've been all over. I've lived all over the place. I live in Arizona now. I've lived in Minnesota. I've lived in New Hampshire. I've lived in Virginia. I've lived in Georgia. I've lived in North Carolina. I've lived in New Jersey. Nobody says Jersey, by the way. I've never heard anybody from New Jersey say Jersey. It's
Man,
Jersey.
you really have been all over. You should try
Yeah.
Chicago sometime.
I would love. I mean, I've been through Chicago a few times. I've driven around Chicago a few times. Never spent actual quality time in the Windy City. Maybe I should go there now and get a pope hoagie. A pope hoagie. Would they call it a pogie?
No, Portillo's is releasing a sandwich called the Leo.
The Leo. I
The
need to
Leo.
get one.
It's just an Italian beef.
I know, yeah.
But yeah, come to Chicago. You can see all the places that are out in Arizona, but really started here.
Right. Hey, the Lou Malnati's by my place just closed down. I'm fully ingrained in it. Okay.
Wow.
There. Yes. So yes.
That's sad.
Yes, it was a little sad because they're pretty good. But there's a
They are. I can't eat it anymore, unfortunately.
No, it's good though.
Dairy.
Delicious.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I mean, I've been around. So that's. I mean, I've been all over the U.S. I've been Florida. I'm not going to name all the states I've been to, but I've been to a bunch of places. And then
same.
Power Soccer, as I mentioned, has taken me overseas. My very first overseas trip with Power Soccer, I spent a week in Paris like 12 years ago. Right. And since then, I've been to Ireland. I've been to Brazil. I've been to Finland. I've been to Denmark. I've been to Argentina. I've been to Australia. I've been to. Should I keep going? Should I keep going?
You've been everywhere.
Should I keep? I'm going. I'm actually going back in 2025. This is May 2025. I'm going back to Paris next month for another Power Soccer tournament. So
nice. Do you think that accessibility in Paris will be better this time around because they just hosted the Olympics?
Yeah, actually, you know what? That's a good point. Yes, that would be awesome.
And the Paralympics.
Yes, that would be awesome. I hope so.
Yeah.
That would be nice. That's a good point. So yeah, so I've traveled a lot, and if you look at me, this little dude in a wheelchair, like I've been more places than most people will ever go. Right? Like I'd always wanted to go to Ireland. I always wanted to go to Rio. My dad always used to talk about going to Carnival for Rio because who knew that, like he had a little wild side to him. He wanted to go to Carnival. But anyway, but I've been to Rio a couple times. In fact, I was there back in October. I've never been to Australia until like a year and a half ago. So yeah, I've been a ton of places and I'm looking to go to more, right? I weirdly, I speak German. Never been to Germany. I learned it gringo style here in the US. So,
nice.
But I'd like to do that one day at some point. Man. So yeah, I mean, like I've been a bunch of places. Don't count me out. Don't count Kevin out. We do things. We're out there. We're active out in the world, right? We're doing stuff. The one thing that gets a bunch of people is like when I go, yeah, I write. What? How do you write? What? Really?
Like you physically write?
Like I write. I mean, I know that's not so popular these days.
That one gets a lot of people too, for sure.
How do you write?
Yeah.
Really? Show me.
Yeah, literally.
How do you type? How do you do it?
When I'm driving my wheelchair, because I use a head array, I like to tell people that I'm controlling both my mind. Yes. Just to mess with them.
Yes. It's witchcraft and sorcery, your lord.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
I'm like Gollum, but in a wheelchair.
This right here, this is how I type. I mean, even though this isn't a pencil, imagine this is a pencil. This is also how I write. All right, okay. That's how I do it.
That's how you do it.
And I got better pen personship than you do.
Yeah, but to be fair, like who writes anything these days? Everything's digital.
I still write checks for my rent because I'm not letting them take $5 a month from me.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. I just saw that.
Yeah, I'm not giving the man more money. They already get money from me every month. I'm not getting more.
Yeah, that's fair.
I will die with the $5, the $60 a year that I save. Leave me alone. That's how I do it. So I mean, let's see what else can I do that you would never believe. Oh my goodness. I mean, I can sort of feed myself. I can sort of feed. I think we talked about this before, right? Like if you strap a feed bag to my face and I can eat like a horse, right? Or I think we talked about that in a previous episode, right? Like,
The
I
long
mean,
way around feed bags.
yeah, we need those. We'll we'll sell them. We'll sell them. I can't wait. Long way. You want more independence? Buy a long way around feed bag at our Etsy store.
By human feedback. Oh
Yeah,
god.
yeah.
One of these days they're gonna actually get created.
Yeah, oh my God. So many people
Yeah.
would be mad. Let's see what else. I will say, the one thing I haven't done yet that I want to do is I want to go skydiving.
Okay.
Have
Yeah,
you
I've thought
skydived?
about that too. The thing that worries me is the landing.
I'm not worried about the landing because you're not by yourself. You're doing it tandem, right? So
Yeah, but like you gotta like don't you worry about like being able to get your like feet in the right position and like landing like somewhat softly?
no, I'm sitting. I'm hopefully like in a little like seat, like a baby carrier for adults, right?
Just
That's what,
just a giant Bjorn.
yeah. A giant baby Bjorn, right? Strapped to my dive buddy's chest. But the thing that actually scares me about it isn't necessarily the landing. It's will the wind shear rip my hips apart as I'm hurling toward Earth.
That's valid.
That's what I'm worried about. That's
I
what I'm
think
worried
I
about.
want to try one of those indoor places first and see
Yeah.
how that goes,
Yeah.
and then go from there. But it does sound really fun.
Yeah, I want to do that. That's definitely one thing I want to do. But that doesn't mean I can't do it, right? Like you can do it, I can do it. We can all do it. I might come out injured at the end of it, but that doesn't mean I can't do it.
Same.
Yeah.
This is a lot less exciting, but have you ever gone down like a water slide?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I've done
No.
that.
Have you done that?
But I mean, I can't do it anymore because they're usually up like giant flights of stairs.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in a go-kart?
No. I've been in a roller coaster. Now, see, the thing with me, and this is one difference between you and me, is that like I can't lay down flat. I can't when I sit up, my back, I can't show you because I can't stand out of this chair. Thank you, whoever. Oh, wait, right, never mind. I can't lay flat on my back, so a water slide would be I would be on my side the whole time.
Yeah, that'd be tough.
Yeah, and then I'd probably end up face down at some point, and then with water shooting up my nose. I mean,
Okay. We
no.
don't want that.
Yeah, I'd get waterboarded the entire 75 feet down the water slide. No, thank you.
Okay, so maybe water slides are not in your future.
No, definitely not in my future. I did a roller coaster when I had gone to Cedar Point in Ohio like eons ago. This one was made out of wood. I think it still operates. But yeah, so I've done those things. I'm trying to think of what else I've done.
I've also done a few roller coasters, both here in Chicago at Six Flags, Great America and Gurnee, and Disney World down in Florida.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm trying to think. There's obviously more. I mean, well, obviously, I do this. I'm doing voice acting here in my studio. I had to build a studio that was accessible for me. This probably wouldn't work for most people, but it works for me.
I feel like that's a big thing that people don't expect is that we are both college educated and we both live independently and contribute to society and have jobs.
Yeah. I've been holding down a job off and on since I was like 15. Right? I mean, geez. And so it's like I work. I got a full-time job. I got my side hustle, my side chick over here, my voiceover thing I got going on. And then I do power soccer. I play sports. So I'm doing like three things nobody would ever guess, right? Like I think when people, at least back in the day, and thankfully that narrative is changing now, but especially back in the day, people would look at somebody in a wheelchair and like, oh, you must sit around all day and like watch TV and color. Right. But you probably can't even do that because your hands obviously don't work. So how could you color? So you probably just sit around and watch TV all day. Right. Yeah. And look at porn on the internet. Right. Because I mean, what else are you going to do? What else are you going to do? Right.
One of the most common things I would hear, especially just in college, which was surprising because this is like, the 2010s mostly. And people would always be like, oh, like it was so good to see you at like whoever's house or whatever, like I didn't know that like you actually went out. And I'd always be like, well, what do you expect
Yeah,
me to
exactly my
do?
point. That's exactly my point, right? Like we're out there doing stuff. Like I illegally cross streets, right? Don't arrest me for
Right.
jaywalking, but I do. This is what we do, right? I mean, like we lead lives. The only difference for us really is that like we need help to like do the basic things, right? Like somebody help me get this shirt on today. Yeah, I need help with that, but it's still, with my own money, went out and bought stuff, clothes, things like that. Money that I
Yeah.
earned, through a job that I have. And so yeah, it's just like we lead relatively normal lives, right? Like we get up and poop just like everybody else. And man, I took a huge one this morning. Oh my God.
Oh God.
Wow, it was wild.
Oh
Anyway,
geez.
yeah, I mean, everybody poops, right? I might as well just put it out there.
Yeah, everybody poops. Yeah.
Everybody
And
poops.
now we know about
No
Tony's.
man, like look, even like Princess Kate of Wales, like took a dump today. Unless like she's constipated, but something she took a dump at some point this week.
Right.
So who else took a poop? A pope poop this week.
The Pope.
The Pope took a poop this week, right?
Yeah.
Everybody poops. So I'm not much more different than Pope Leo, except for the whole like man of God and his holiness thing. Like he's
And the whole like, being the head of the Catholic Church.
right. I mean, yeah, I mean, like
You
he's a
know.
much better person than I am. I couldn't do that. So good for you, Pope Leo. Good job. So yeah, so there you go. I will say though, there are also not only in terms of like things that I can do when people see me in a wheelchair they didn't think I could do. I also end up in places that people like maybe would not expect me to see, right? Like or you get opportunities sometimes. Look, and I'm just
So
gonna say this.
true.
Hot take. People with disabilities, everybody has some kind of privilege. Everybody has some kind of privilege, right? Having a disability is definitely like there's some privileges in that for sure. For sure.
100%.
100%.
I think it's funny when able-bodied people get mad when we use them too.
You know what? You tell them this. Go use that porta potty over there that's only big enough for one person. Yeah, you think I can do that? Go use your walking privilege and go walk up those stairs to that water slide that you're gonna go down. So, leave me alone. There's definitely privilege to having a disability, though. I ain't gonna lie. Right?
It's so true.
It's so true. Like I get into places all the time. But I want to hear your stories first, though. I'll tell mine later.
I got well. We were just saying I got into a music festival for free once.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. It was Pitchfork here in Chicago. It was like probably like I think it was before the pandemic. I want to say it was like 6 or 7 years ago now. And my buddy and I went down and we were just going to get tickets like that day because it was Sunday. It wasn't as crowded. And there was like an ADA check-in booth. So I'm like, oh, like we should probably just go here. So we go there and this guy is like, oh, you guys are just trying to get in. Yeah. All that, he's like, all right. And he like opens the gate. He's like, you guys can go.
Like, didn't even bother. Didn't even bother.
I was like, he was like, you want to buy a ticket? He was like, no, you're good. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Oh, you shouldn't have even opened your mouth. That could have been the end of you right there. But good job.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I want to be honest, I guess. And then probably so I always refer to these as wheelchair perks. Like you said, like being in a wheelchair or having a disability, whatever, it comes with certain advantages. When I was 10 years old, I was nominated by a teacher at my elementary school for a program called the Starlight Children's Foundation, which at the time they granted wishes to kids with disabilities. So it's kind of like Make-A-Wish, but a little bit different.
Did they think you were going to die when you were young? This is why they nominated you?
No, that was like the difference. Is that's like
Okay.
what yeah, I know, but like I always have to make that distinction. So my wish, which they ended up granting, was I wanted to throw out the first pitch at a Chicago Cubs game.
No way.
Yeah. So they made it happen. They did the whole, like, you ever seen like those, like when people have like a kid or whatever, they'll do like the lawn decorations, like that stuff.
Will that make the kid the lawn decoration?
No. Like they'll like, it'll be like, or like a kid's birthday, it'll be like a bunch of baseballs or something.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So
all right.
they did that surprisingly, like the day of, and then we got to take a limo from our house to Wrigley Field, which was really cool. And then I was like, like the guest of honor, like I was like 10 years old. So this was like amazing. I'm a huge Cubs fan. So I got to meet all the players, got to have them sign a baseball. They gave me a bunch of swag. And then I got to throw out the first pitch. And this was a game against the Chicago White Sox. So it's a crosstown classic game, White Sox Cubs, Wrigley Field. It was a 2:20 start when they still had those. They don't even have 2:20 starts anymore. But it was awesome. Like easily like one of like a core memory without a doubt. And then the funny part is that they had a policy that you're only supposed to get one of these wishes, per lifetime. So fast forward like 2 years later, and the wish granter calls my mom and she's like, hey, we have this opportunity for someone to be a bat boy for the White Sox. We know Kevin is more of a Cubs fan, but like, would he want to do it? So she ran it by me and I was like, yeah, absolutely. Oh, I don't care. Whatever. I don't care. I mean, I don't regret it at all. So for a day, I pretended to be a White Sox fan and got to be the quote unquote bat boy, which I say quote unquote because they literally just gave me a jersey that said bat boy. And then I watched the game from the stands. Yeah. So it was kind of funny that they called me the bat boy, even though like I wasn't really the bat. Maybe the person I replaced could like actually be the bat boy. But I definitely was not able to do that. But
now I will say, in all fairness, probably good idea not to have you actually on the field because heaven forbid you get beamed in the face with a foul ball.
Yes, exactly. But I will say that like my disability / our disability is so great for meeting famous people.
Oh man.
It comes in so handy.
Oh man. I met for any for any of you mixed martial arts fans out there, are you a mixed martial arts fan, Kev?
A little bit. I don't watch it that much, but
do you know who Tito Ortiz is?
Yeah, I do.
I met Tito Ortiz once.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh man, here's wheelchair privilege exhibit A right here. So it's my 10-year high school reunion. So you got a bunch of 28-year-olds in Las Vegas.
Okay.
Okay, now all of us went to school in South Korea at Seoul American High School. Go Falcons! Rest in peace, Seoul American High School. It closed down a couple of years ago. So we're all in Las Vegas because like we're not going back to South Korea for our high school reunion. So we're like, let's go to Vegas. So you got a bunch of 28-year-olds. Most of us are still like single, like childless or whatever. So like we're having fun. We're having a good time. And at one of the hotels, and I think they still do this, they have a thing called Rehab. It's like a pool party. And it was like a Sunday afternoon. And let me tell you, Rehab on Sunday in like whatever month this was, I don't even remember. It was like March, I think it was. Because when you go to school overseas, you can have a reunion whenever you want. Who cares?
Okay.
So it's like March. The weather's awesome outside. And I swear, every stripper that wasn't working that day was at this pool party. Okay. So like I get to the front of the line and the bodyguards are checking me, and I'm like, I had already been like drinking at this point. I'm pretty sure. And I just like very slowly start nudging my way past security guards. All right. And I keep going and somehow I get through. They didn't even bother stopping me. I found out later it's like $35 to get into this thing. You think I paid a single dime to get in? No. I did not.
Love it.
I did not. I got in. I got into this pool party. And like I said, every stripper that was not working at that moment at 2:00 on a Sunday was at this pool party. All right. These are the folks that were working Saturday night, Friday night. They're relaxing now. They are there. They're living the dream. And so I get there, and so like there's this little like moat that goes around the pool. All right. And there was like this little walking bridge to get over the moat, but the bridge had stairs, and I was like, how am I going to get over this thing? And I remember now that I had been drinking, because this is all kind of fuzzy to me at this point. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my God, I can't get to the pool. How am I going to get there? And all I remember is like these two walls of flesh walk up, and they go, hey, we'll take you over the bridge. And I was like, cool. So these two dudes, hand to God, like grab me in my chair, pick up my wheelchair, and carry me over this bridge and set me down on the other side. I felt like royalty at that point. No joke. And so I'm like, yes, I'm in. I'm in. I'm in. And there's like, girls in bikinis everywhere, and like we're hanging out. And this guy, he comes up to me, he goes, hey, you know who Tito Ortiz is? I go, yeah, dude, UFC fighting champ. And he goes, yeah, you want to meet him? I go, yeah, let's go. So I go over to this like little pagoda thing. I don't know, like a little bodega, whatever. Not a pagoda, a bodega. And like Tito Ortiz is just sitting there in this covered shaded thing. And I'm like, me and him like 10 feet apart. And I'm like, what's up, dude? He goes, hey, what's up, man? Whatever. And it turns out like, this guy was like Tito's like personal manager or whatever. Right. And so like we exchanged pleasantries for a moment, and then like, we all go off and do our own things, and I'm pounding back more beers. And so rehab is about to close down for the day, and I got to get back into the hotel. Comes to turn out that there is a wheelchair path around the back of the pool that I could have just gone through.
Right? Of course.
Okay,
you have to feel like royalty for a few seconds.
Yeah. So I make my way back into the hotel, and I see Tito's manager again, and I go, hey, what's up, dude? He sees me, and by like this point I have my shirt off, right? Like I'm outside, I'm having a good time. Like my shirt, my pasty, body is all over the place in this hotel. And I follow him real quick, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? Like, what's going on? He's like, oh, I'm just going back to my table. I was like, hey, you cool if I tag along for me? He goes, yeah, sure, no problem. Come on over, hang out for a few minutes. So I go back to the table, and like we're all hanging out, and I turn around and I pull up to the card table, and I look up, and I'm sitting next to Dennis Rodman. No joke. As a Chicago Bulls fan, Dennis Rodman was the man with the Chicago Bulls. I'm sitting next to Dennis Rodman. I look up and go, hey, what's up, Rodman? He looks down. He goes, hey, what's up? And that was it. And I was like, cool. All right. Awesome. And then I go back to the table and hanging out with Tito's manager and Ortiz, and like, and then my brother or somebody walks by, and apparently they were looking for me. I had disappeared.
God.
And they found me. And so they took me away. And that's the end of my Tito Ortiz, Dennis Rodman story.
Wow.
I would not have gotten to that position without being in a wheelchair.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I have a similar story, but it doesn't involve meeting a person. So let's see, this was the first night of my sophomore year of college. I went to school down in Central Illinois. I go down there, and I like moved in earlier that day. And like that night I meet up with some friends. We're at a house party at a fraternity. We're like in the backyard. And all of a sudden I get a text from one of my caregivers who's also a student, and she was 21. I was not 21 at this time. So she was at a bar nearby, and she was like, the Stanley Cup is here. And I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, you're not like the Stanley Cup is here. You're like, she sent me a picture. I was like, oh my God. So I look at my friends. I'm like, we got to go. We got to get there right now, because I'm a huge hockey Blackhawks fan. So this was after the 2010 Stanley Cup. So we book it to this bar. Okay. And I'm like 19 at this point. And I went to a college where like you didn't get into the bars unless you were 21. We got in, no problem. They didn't even ask us for our IDs. Yeah, they didn't even ask for IDs. We just walked right in. And then we're in there. We're in this bar, and it's an Irish pub. So very like old school brick. It has like fireplaces, a mantle. The Stanley Cup, the actual Stanley Cup, is on the mantle of the bar, of the fireplace in the bar.
Badass.
And there's like this security guard standing next to it. All of a sudden he comes up to me and my aide that night, and he's like, are you guys here to see the Stanley Cup? And we're like, yeah. And he's like, all right, we're going to bring it to you.
Yes.
And I'm like, yes, this is the best. And there is a picture of me holding the Stanley Cup like on my wheelchair.
Yes.
It was incredible, and it's huge. It is very dented. It is probably very dirty, but it was an amazing moment.
Yes.
And I for sure would not have gotten to do that if I wasn't in a wheelchair.
I love it. Do you know there's so many NHL greats who have never touched the Stanley Cup?
I know. Isn't that crazy? And the whole reason it was there because the assistant GM of the Blackhawks at that time was an Illinois State alum. So he had the cup. It was like his day with the cup, so he brought it down
to his favorite bar when he was at Illinois State.
I'm glad I moved down literally that day.
I love it. Oh, man. Dude, seriously, sometimes being in a wheelchair has perks. Like
I bought this is a random short story. I bought a ticket once to get an autographed stick from Duncan Keith, who was on the Blackhawks during the Stanley Cup run. And like they positioned first, they're like getting the line set up before he shows up. And like they get everyone with the tickets, we go to the spot and they're like, okay, yeah, you can go right over here to the side of the stage and we'll have him, sign your stick first. Well, I was also wearing a Duncan Keith jersey entirely on purpose, just in case. So he shows up. I'm like the first person he meets. He signs the stick and just like, gets behind me and signs the jersey without even asking. I didn't even have a ticket for that. Yep.
Love it. Love it. I got into the Fiesta Bowl for free once.
You got into the Fiesta Bowl for free? Which year? Who was playing?
Years ago. It was Nebraska and Tennessee, I believe it was.
Oh wow, that must have been a long time
ago. It was years ago. It was like early 2000s, right? And this is
when they played it at Arizona State?
Yes, this is on campus at Sun Devil Stadium, Nebraska. I believe Tom Osborne was still the head coach. They haven't been as good ever since. Even though they shouldn't have fired Bill Callahan when he was there. They were doing good. Anyway, I found a ticket on the ground. Somebody had lost their ticket, and this was for like the nosebleed seats, right? So at that time, before they renovated Sun Devil Stadium a few years ago, there were wheelchair seats on the field next to the player, like team sidelines. There were wheelchair seats, and when I went to Arizona State, that's where my football seats were for ASU football games. And so, of course, I knew they were there. So I found a ticket on the ground. I was like, oh, a ticket. And then I looked at it, I go, oh, the stub hadn't been torn off of it yet. Somebody lost their ticket. You think I'm giving that back? No.
Hell no.
No. I mean, that person was probably long gone by that point because they had lost their ticket. And so I pull up, sure enough, I pull up to the gate and I had the jacket. It was like, it's January. So it's chilly in Phoenix in January in the evening. So I had my jacket on and I had the ticket just barely sticking out of my jacket, just so that way the person could see that it was a ticket. And the guy working the turnstile goes, all right, cool. Go ahead. Go through. Right. And so I'm in the stadium now and I'm like, holy shit, I just got into the Fiesta Bowl. Let's see how far I can take this. Let's see how far I can take this. And so to get to the wheelchair seats, there's a fence surrounding the actual playing field and the sideline and stuff. So you have to go past this fence to get to the wheelchair seat. And so I pull up to the gate and like I've been to every home game from like 1994 to 2007 or so. I had been to pretty much every single Arizona State University football home game outside of like one. I missed like one game. So all the security folks recognize me, of course, because it's the same security crew that works there all the time. So they know me already. So they see me pull up to the fence and goes, hey, I go, hey. And just like the palace castle door opens right up and I go right in and I pull up to the ramp and I'm like, yes, I'm on the field in a wheelchair seat for the Fiesta Bowl. People pay thousands of dollars for this seat, right? And I pull up to an empty spot because not all the wheelchair seats had been bought. I pull up and I'm like, yeah, I'm in the game. I'm at the game. I'm watching the game. It's Nebraska. It's Tennessee. And then I feel a hand on my shoulder. And I go, oh no, I just got caught. I'm like, oh, they're going to ask me for my ticket. And I turn around and it's the guy who works the same section every single game. He's like, good to see you, man. I was like, yeah, it's awesome to see you too. Thank you for not asking where my seat is. And I watched the second half of the Fiesta Bowl from the field. It was awesome.
That's awesome. That's so legit. It does pay to like
It pays to be
be
crippled.
it does. It pays to be
Sometimes.
recognized.
Sometimes.
It
Okay,
pays
yeah.
to be recognized too. Like it honestly, it happened to me this morning. I went to the farmer's market like right over here, and there's a mini donut cart,
Oh,
and I've been there like numerous times. They follow me on social media too. And I go up there, we're catching up on things, and I order a dozen mini donuts, and the cashier is like, okay, yeah, no charge. And they gave me 18 donuts.
what?
Yeah.
Wait, what's the name of this donut? You got to give them some shine now that they did this.
Yeah, Joe and Dough Co. in outside Chicago.
Joe and Dough Co. outside Chicago. Go hit
Yeah.
them up, please, because I
Yes.
mean, like, look, you're gonna. Kevin's diabetic now because of them, but
I'm going to be if I keep eating these donuts. No, not seriously, but they're really delicious.
Joe and Dough Co.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Good for you. They should send us donuts. They should send you with a box of donuts to the 20th annual AMC festival.
Yes.
Yeah.
They should.
Yeah.
I agree.
We're gonna be there, by the way. I don't know if you've seen the ads, but we're gonna be there. You should come by and say hi. So let's see here. So not only have we talked about things that we can do despite our disability, we talk about places we've been because of our disability. Like the thing is, like, people feel sorry for us sometimes because they look at us and don't feel sorry for me. Don't feel sorry for me. I'm a popular man. I was, because it's weird now because I'm almost, too old to be at the club. I was a popular man at the club when I was in college. Why do you think that is? I'm not rich. I don't look as good as Kevin. Why do you think that is? That's right, because I'm a cute little dude in a wheelchair, and the girls love that stuff. So I'm a popular man at the club. Right?
Yeah, hey, my 20s were fun.
That's right. That's right. Damn right they were. Man. I mean, is there anything else surprising about you, Kevin, that I don't know? I didn't know you were a baseball player for 20 years. Is there anything else?
Yeah.
What else?
What else is surprising about me?
Blow my mind, Kevin Sullivan.
Oh man. I don't know. I feel like I'm like kind of boring.
Okay, well, fine. Okay, well, you are boring then, I guess. I don't know.
I guess I am.
Man, I mean, I've been on TV a couple times when I was a kid. Like there was a show on TV called like the 8 Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter or something like that, right? Yeah, 13 Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter. John Ritter was on that show, right? So John Ritter before that was on a show called Three's Company, like a long time ago, way back in the 80s. And I actually met John Ritter way back in the day. Because it was kind of like that Starlight Foundation thing where they're like, hey, let's get a bunch of kids who have disabilities and give them unforgettable experiences. So I was on like this local TV show when I was a kid, and John Ritter was there. I remember him being a super nice dude. Mm-hmm. Yeah, super nice guy. If you're into hard rock or heavy metal, I was at a show years and years ago. I was in the back interviewing one of the bands, and Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath walked by me and said hello. I tried to stink my way into an elevator. Dave Mustaine, who is the lead singer and the founder of Megadeth, they were opening that night as well. And actually I was interviewing. No, it was a different band. Never mind, different band. I was interviewing that night. So Dave Mustaine and his manager and all those people are going up this elevator, and I tried to sneak my way into the elevator. Almost. And security guard stopped me as my foot was literally holding the door open to this elevator. And he goes, "Hey, you, excuse me." And I'm like, "Yeah." I knew he was talking to me. He's like, "You can't come back here." And the manager looks at me, goes, "Excuse me, please," because I was holding the door open. They're trying to get upstairs.
You tried.
I tried.
I went to a concert once where like one of the acts jumped off the stage, and eventually he was singing one of the songs with his arm around me.
Yeah,
actually.
Did you know the words to the song, or were you just like smiling?
No, I did. I did. Yeah, it was a country concert.
Oh, cool. Did he throw the mic in your face and you sang together?
No, he did not do that. But we did get a nice photo op together.
Nice.
So.
I love that.
Yeah. Hey, celebrities love a good photo op with someone in a wheelchair.
100%. 100%. Yeah. I can't wait to hopefully one day meet Lady Gaga and or Dua Lipa.
That would be cool.
Yes. Yes, I know. I'm a metal guy. Love those two though.
I think the one person I'd really love to meet, and they're not a musician, is Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan, come on
Yeah.
out. MJ, come on out. I don't know where you're living these days, but Kevin Sullivan over here would
Let's
really
make it
like to meet
happen.
you.
I think he's in North Carolina.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Have a cigar together.
Yeah.
I mean, you already played baseball. Do a round of golf with MJ.
Yeah, there we go. He
There you
used to
go.
golf like right around here.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Do it. Well, there you go, folks. That's episode 6. There you go. So again, just as a reminder, don't look at us and just assume that we can't do something. All right, we're out there doing stuff.
Assume competence, right?
Assume competence until otherwise.
We're mostly competent.
Yeah, we're mostly
most of the
competent.
time.
Most of the time. Yeah. I mean, I'm yeah, whatever. I'm okay, whatever. Anyway, that's episode 6, Long Way Around Podcast. Make sure you follow us on the YouTube, on the Instagram. Do we have a Facebook, Kevin? I don't even know.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, Facebook. TLWA Podcast. Email us at the Long Way Around, or no. Email us at Long Way Around Podcast. The Long Way Around Podcast at gmail.com. The Long Way Around Podcast at gmail.com. Follow us, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TLWA Podcast. I'm Tony Jackson.
And I'm Kevin Sullivan.
Check us out next time, episode 7. We'll see you soon.
So long, everybody.